The Beitbridge Border post in Masikane in Limpopo has been heavily congested over the weekend. Motorists say this is because an apparent system problem on the Zimbabwean side is affecting processing time. Some drivers have been waiting to cross for over a week now. eNCA Silindelo Masikane has the latest from the Beitbridge Border. She joins us now. Hi, Slee. So talk to me about what you've been seeing at Beitbridge and whether this is happening at other land borders in our country.
Well, Sally, what we do know is that this backlog here at the Beitbridge Border has been ongoing for a couple of weeks now, meaning that many of the trucks that you see lined up here with their truck drivers have been spending days and nights trying to get over. We're not particularly certain whether this is happening at other border posts. We haven't received any of those reports, but we know that specifically here at Beitbridge, this issue has been ongoing for a couple of weeks now, and it's due to some of the infrastructure backlogs and system failures, from what we understand, coming from the Zimbabwean side of the border post. And from what you can see in front of you, I wanted to specifically show you exactly what this particular border post looks like, because it's one thing to tell you that there's a backlog, but when you actually see it, it's really quite something astounding to see that at this international border post, you're having all of these trucks lined up, and you can imagine the millions, if not billions of rands that are basically standing still here. And this particular queue, Sally, goes on for kilometers on end. People think I'm exaggerating when I say that the queue actually starts from around, as you're leaving Musina, which is about 20 kilometers away from the actual border post. So you can imagine that the ones that are at the very back, how they're feeling, because not only are they struggling to get ablution facilities, food, water, but they're having to man their trucks and actually be security guards on top of actually being truck drivers. And so the situation really unfolding here, I must say, is really, really dire, especially for those truck drivers who have to sit here waiting in this queue.
It's astonishing. I mean, the visuals, it just doesn't end. I mean, we've been talking for a few minutes now, and that queue just carries on and carries on. The truck drivers must be beyond frustrated. What are they saying to you about what they're hearing, about what's going to fix this problem?
You know, they're saying they're getting mixed messages, Sally, in terms of what the issue is. One truck driver I spoke to said when you speak to officials on the South African side, they say it's Zimbabwe is the problem. When you're in Zimbabwe, they say South Africa is the problem, because this particular queue that you're seeing on the South African side of the border is actually a similar situation on the other side of the border. But for them, what's most concerning is that they don't have access to those basic human needs that you need. I mean, can you imagine being here in this queue for 5 days? Where do you bath? Where do you get water? Where do you use the restroom? Especially when you're much further away from the border post, where there are actual some amenities. Let's just take a listen to what they had to say.
I'm carrying LPG gas. I arrived here yesterday, but luckily, and we want to thank those national traffic cops. They come to assist us, especially us who are pulling dangerous goods, LPG gas. These long queues, they are here for long. So some drivers, they are taking mbaula gas, cooking outside, smoking. They don't even know the dangers of dangerous goods. Yeah. But these traffic cops, I started to see them today. Maybe they are from Joburg or Polokwane. We appreciate them. They come in the queue and take us out from the queue. Then they let us park near Mbesina since morning. Then they come and escort us. That's how we reach here.
I arrived, I think this is the 7th day now, but I haven't moved more than 5 kilometers, I think, for 7 days now. This is the 7th day, but I haven't moved 5 kilometers. And the life that we are surviving here, it's very hard, because there's no toilets, there's no water, there's no food. We are just buying from the people that are selling food in the queue. We don't know whether the food is cooked properly or where it was cooked. You don't even know. We're just eating. It's just coming. They just come with the K lights and say we are selling food. So that's the life we are surviving here. The life is so difficult.
I mean, it is astonishing. 7 days in a queue and no clear word on when it's going to be sorted out. What are the officials saying? Have you been able to establish where the problem is, whose problem it is actually, and how long it's going to take to fix? Slee, are you still with us? All right. We seem to have lost Silindelo Masikane. I mean, that queue is extraordinary. It just goes on and on and on.
And it's good that she actually drove so we can see the extent of that, right?
Absolutely.
It's so interesting to see how those things unfold over and over and over. I was listening to an interview earlier on from officials, and they were saying it's simply because people are not filling in the forms before they get there. But then you talk to the truck drivers, and they tell you something else.
Yeah, and there needs to be a more efficient... I was chatting to Dan Moyane, and he went through the border post to get to Mozambique recently, and he said there were backups there as well. And he says we need a much simpler, more efficient system that needs to get these trucks moving, because otherwise both countries are going to run into problems.
Yeah, exactly.